Hello, everybody. I've made a short video called Got to Learn Some French, Can't Leave It Any Longer. Now, the reason I've made it is because France has brought in some really quite draconian requirements linking your residence permit, in other words, your authorization to remain in France, to your ability to communicate in French. How did this come about? Okay. Back in 2022, the French Interior Minister, this guy called Monsieur Gérald Darmanin, said that today a quarter of foreigners who have residence permits and speak French have understand and speak French extremely badly. Now, it's probably something you've noticed as well going around. But the thing is, in English-speaking countries, they don't seem to mind very much if a foreigner can communicate in English, but that certainly isn't the case in France. And guess what? They're now going to do something about it, something many English speakers whose French may be rather ropey are not going to like at all. Let's get to the nitty-gritty of it. What the law says is that anyone needing to renew or apply for carte de séjour, carte de résident, will need to show that their French is up to the required level. I'll go into that later, and I've also put a load of stuff in the description below this video. Or if their French isn't up to the required level, their residence permit may well be refused. In other words, you won't be authorized to remain in France. And some people have accused me of scaremongering. Well, let's just see if I am scaremongering. Right. The law was passed in January of this year. This is the interior of the French Parliament. And it's gonna come into effect on the 1st of January 2006. Now you're probably thinking, oh, that's miles away. But we all know how fast time flies. And as a result, I can only warn you, you haven't got much time to get your French up to the required level. But before I get serious, I'm really serious, I want to congratulate you. I'm full of admiration for what you've done. You've gone to the trouble to move to France, and I'm French. I'm delighted to have you there. And you've got out of your comfort zone and you've moved to a country where you probably don't speak the language terribly well, but you're going to have to face a lot more bureaucracy and administrative hassles, including the language-related ones that I'm talking about in this video. But in any case, as I said, I'm full of admiration for you and congratulations. Before we get really serious, let's play a little game. Let's go to your favorite cake shop, and let's say you want 3 of those lovely cakes up in the top left there. They're called opéra. And let's assume that you speak no French whatsoever, maybe bonjour, au revoir, merci, but as you know, that's really not enough, is it? So what do you do if you don't speak French? Well, what you can do is point, and let's say you want 3, you stick up 3 fingers, merci and au revoir, and you pay for it, and out the door you go. Now, that's fine, but it isn't fine because your French is going to have to be a lot better than that. Now, I'm going to show you a video of this gentleman speaking French. As a Frenchman, his accent just makes me squirm. And your accent is going to have to be a lot better than that, or people are simply going to laugh at you, or they won't even understand you.
Vos Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, je ne saurais vous dire à quel point mon épouse et moi-même sommes ravis d'être parmi vous ce soir, au terme de la première journée de notre première visite d'État en France, et combien nous sommes touchés par le magnifique accueil qui nous a été réservé. Votre générosité nous rappelle que ma famille et moi-même avons été très émus par les hommages rendus en France à ma mère, feu la reine, dont les funérailles ont eu lieu il y a une année.
Okay, well, let's consider a couple of real pain in the neck situations and how you deal with them in France. Supposing your roof leaks, this lady here on the left, how would you explain this to the roofer? Only speaks a little bit of English. Or supposing your gearbox was making a funny noise. How would you explain this to the car mechanic who doesn't speak any English at all? Not one word. Yes, Monsieur Girard. Okay, he's looking a bit more cheerful now. And this is why you mustn't delay in improving your French. Really can't waste any more time. Okay. If you want to stay in France 20 days and 1 year, you're going to need a thing called the carte de séjour. The word pluriannuel means you can renew it if necessary. And they don't just give it to you. You've got to work for it, and you've got to prove that you've got at least A2 level French, and that you're going to need to show documentation, prove this. Okay, A2 level French, what's that? You should be able to understand and convey basic messages. Explain what you like, what you don't like, and have simple conversations on a variety of topics. I'm not talking about Einstein's laws of relativity. I'm talking about the price of bananas in Auchan yesterday. I'm talking about a funny thing that happened to you when you went for a walk last week. Anything really basic. You can also explain a simple problem and reply politely to invitations. I do stress the word politely because we all know how polite the French can be, especially in Paris. Now, you try and speak, you try and communicate, you know, people are laughing at you, you know, people giggling at you. You're going to have people trying to correct you or come out with silly statements. No, just ignore it. Just take it on the chin. You're doing your best. You're doing your very best. You carry on doing your best. Okay, just don't take any notice whatsoever. Sometimes they're trying to help you, but often they're not. You can explain a simple problem, like a leaky roof, and as I said, reply politely to invitations. Above all, don't be embarrassed making mistakes. Now, one up from that, you need a thing called a carte de résident. What a carte de résident is is a permit that's aimed at people who've got their main home in France, spend most of their time in France. So it includes retired people. It also includes people on a carte de séjour, which we've just been talking about, which has been renewed at least 3 times. Now, these people, in order to get a carte de résident, are going to have B1 level French, and that's considerably in advance of the A2, which we've just been discussing. B1, what's that? It means you can easily communicate in French in social and professional situations. You can understand and you can give instructions. You can have fluent conversations with native speakers, and that's providing they're not talking too fast and providing they haven't got a regional accent, which is often the problem in France. And you can deal with complex situations face to face or over the phone. You can grasp detailed information, unfamiliar topics. But again, please do not be afraid to make mistakes. That's how you learn. Right, I've talked about problems. Now, what about some solutions? Okay. The easiest, simplest way of trying to improve French, and there are many groups on Facebook, for example, that are trying to do this, is to sit around a table, have a coffee, have an aperitif, and help each other out. Now, the problem with that is, unless you've got a French person with you, the accent may be a problem. And then, of course, there's grammar. They say, you said this wrong. How do you know you've said it wrong? How do you know you're wrong and they're right and you're wrong? You really don't. Okay, let's go to the other extreme. Let's go to the other extreme and join a language school, shall we? Now, a language school will give you a tutor or a series of tutors, and they'll probably follow a fairly rigid syllabus. Now, that's may well be exactly what you want because you're taking an exam. However, these language schools can be quite costly, and not following a rigid, and there are alternatives to following a rigid syllabus. And I found a lot of students progress a lot faster, take a more informed approach. Now, what can I mean by that? That's the third alternative. You could get yourself an online language coach. An online language coach can tailor classes to your needs and your interests. You're the one in charge, not the language school. And you know what? I'd be delighted to work with you. I'm also quite a bit cheaper than language schools. You can follow a fixed syllabus if you like, if you're taking exams, for example, A2 or B1 or C1 or whatever, B2, or we can take a more informal route. Now, what sort of examples can I give you of an informal route? Obviously, we can exchange files of different sorts, including videos, and we can build grammar and vocabulary around those. For example, if you went to Casino or Leclerc yesterday, you can show me what you had in your shopping trolley, and we can discuss that and build grammar and vocabulary around that. We can, guess what? We can exchange recipes. I can, from my point of view, I can show you around my local market. We can look at the fruits and vegetables there, and we can build grammar and vocabulary, and with a good accent around that. So these are things we can do, and you might prefer that as an approach. But above all, please don't struggle getting a visa or a resident permit, now that these new language rules have come in, just send me a PM so we can arrange to meet online, Zoom, Google Meet, whatever you like. Or I've left my email address in the description below.